Hello. So the way I've structured my video is kind of by three aha moments or moments of learning and unlearning for me, from specifically the First People's Second Class Treatment reading, and then three ways in accordance to those moments of learning that I as an educator will try to incorporate into my practice as part of decolonization work. So moment number one is just sort of the humbling aspect of that we are lifelong learners and that we do not know everything, especially when it comes to uncovering hidden histories. I've taken quite a few courses on race, and I've learned a decent amount on Indigenous history and settler colonialism in Canada, yet there is still a plethora of information that I'm unaware of, and these readings really reminded me of that. So number one, the thing I'll do as an educator in my classroom is, as part of decolonization work, I'll incorporate a fact, an article, a piece of information about, taking 10 minutes out of every single day, regardless of the subject that I'm teaching. So my teachables are English and social sciences, and I plan to incorporate a lot of decolonization work into those subjects anyways. But outside of that, maybe as, kind of like a meditation at the beginning of the day, every day for 10 minutes, I want to include a piece of information about settler colonialism or Indigenous history and talk to my students about it every single day. My second moment of learning, this is a little bit unrelated to the reading, but it just got me thinking. Yesterday was Truth and Reconciliation Day. And I was really thinking about the way that capitalism still operated business as usual on this day, unsurprisingly. And it just got me thinking about how a lot of marginalized communities argue that in order to get the justice that they are seeking, capitalism needs to stop. We are still living in capitalism, of course, and it's not stopping anytime soon. But on these days, at the very least, everything should be closed, I think. I appreciate how some of our classes like this one sort of dedicated the whole week to us learning about Indigenous history and settler colonialism, and that the class was offline, giving us more time. But not every class did this. I think that in schools or in universities, the entire week of courses readings should be dedicated to this. And if the class is happening and not offline like we did for this one, that the entire discussion is related to this. And I really appreciate how this class has done this, and I appreciate this exercise, the video exercise. So as an educator, sort of my ideal version of this day would be for my school to have no classes that day, but instead to have an entire day dedicated to this, and to sort of have like a rotating classroom thing where one class spends an hour in room 15 watching a documentary, and then they all rotate and they go to the next room where they'll hear an Indigenous speaker speak, and they keep rotating and getting different bits of information about this topic. And I know that there is lots of tokenism and performativity behind these kinds of days dedicated to these topics. Decolonization work is something that needs to happen every day. It's not a one-day thing. But this is a start, and I do think that we could be, in the future, utilizing this day much more. Number three, I really learned from this in particular because this article talked about the social determinants of health disparities. I was really reminded of the connection between social sciences and hard sciences. And I'm a very social sciencey, arts-based person, so I don't incorporate enough science-based topics or the connection between racism and science into my work, and I have a lot of learning to do, but this really showed me how I want to incorporate science more and talk more about racial health disparities in my work. Lastly, just an extra little tidbit. This is something that I actively try to do with both my bookshelf and my reference lists when I'm doing my research, is decolonizing them. As a teacher, I'll do the same thing. I'll try to have as many authors of color as I can and just have that be the norm in my classroom. This kind of made me think of the book White Fragility and Robin DiAngelo, and how Although the book has many great points, she was criticized a lot for being a white woman who was benefiting from anti-racist work. So for books like that, while there are many great points and there's certainly things that I could discuss from her book, I plan to not really have books like that ever centered, or like the book that I'm going to make my students read for a whole unit. I really want to uplift marginalized and racialized voices, and just have it kind of be the norm that those are the books that we read in my classroom, and not have it be like this special, tokenized thing. I'm a little bit over my time. I wish I could say more, but thank you so much for the opportunity to do this video. It was a great learning opportunity, and I look forward to watching all of the others.